Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yahawah, all right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, or 𝐉𝐄𝐄. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and rule well. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity, all right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is the retaining of information, all right? The memorization of, whether it be stats, trivia, people could get on the internet. It's like having a toolbox full of info. But wisdom is knowing which tool to use. Wisdom is the application of the knowledge that you have. There's a lot of people, and you wouldn't believe it, who know they're Israelites and they're not being one. Okay, a lot of people who know a bunch of precepts, but they don't walk in the instruction that the Lord gave. They don't put it in practice. So that knowledge at the end of the day, because they haven't applied it, isn't going to do them any good in the time of testing. Because the time of testing is a field test. Now, anyone could acquire knowledge, right? Through study, observation, taking notes. It's even something that you could scale. You could scale how much somebody knows. But when it comes to wisdom, it's not something you could quite put on a scale, especially the highest wisdom that we're talking about, right? The knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahawashi, who the world even calls God, and his son, who they even call Jesus. That's something that is acquired over time, application, trial, and error. Okay? It's not just knowing a bunch of info. It's learning from your failures and successes and how to apply it in any given situation. Basically, as the scriptures say, to judge righteous judgment. Now, the thing about wisdom, though, it's attached to something. It's attached to the fear of the Lord. All right, but for someone to even have the fear of the Lord, there's something that the fear of the Lord is even attached to, and that's faith. And faith is a gift. Okay, faith is something that, I'm just going to say how it is, something that you're born with, something that the Lord puts on a man's spirit. Okay, it's not given to just any old body. All right? You got to believe that he is, as the scriptures say. All right? And that faith drives you to be conscious and aware of, the Most High is the one pulling the strings, and you have fear for him, which drives you, it puts the gas in your tank to apply the knowledge that you've gotten from the Father. Okay? Many precepts say this. All right, you go to Psalms 111:10. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments, being doers of the word and not hearers only, like it talks about in James 1:22. It says the same thing in Proverbs 1:7. Okay, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. But fools despise wisdom and instruction. But Proverbs 9:10 says the same thing. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All right, and knowledge of the holy is understanding. Okay, and also in Sirach 1:14, to fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And this is the one I want because it says something else to you right here. It lets you know that the fear of the Lord, that too, is attached to something. So I'm going to read this again from the top. This is Sirach 1:14. I think I said Ecclesiastes before. Salakia if I did. This is Ecclesiastes or Sirach 1:14. It says, to fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. All right? The faithful, those who've been given that gift of faith, they're going to have a healthy fear of the Lord. It's just going to be something that's in them. Before you even know this truth, there's certain things that you just refrain from doing because you're like, this don't feel right. And then when you get the knowledge of how the Lord operates, then you begin to walk in that wisdom. All these things are tied together. So again, I always make the statement that there's a lot of people who know they're Israelites, but they're not being one. And just to put it in, layman's terms or a common example, Many people know smoking is bad for your health. They know you smoking them cigs is not good for you, bro. Yet they don't quit. Wisdom involves applying that knowledge to achieve a positive outcome. Okay? Having a plan, having a pathway laid out. As the scriptures say, where there's no vision, the people perish. Okay? Wisdom involves discernment, timing, all right, to navigate the tests, the complexities that are going to be thrown at us so that we get the upright results. Okay? There's people that know a bunch of history, know a bunch of, trivia facts. They're trivia whiz, right? But they can't apply those lessons from the past to avoid repeating those same mistakes. They don't take heed to the lessons that we're supposed to extract from historical accounts. The scriptures say the things written aforetime were written for our learning. Let's get that real quick. All right, this is Romans 15:4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." I wonder how that reads in the GNT. Let's go there real quick. Romans 15:4. All right, in the GNT. And that reads, "Everything written in the scriptures was written to teach us, in order that we might have hope through patience and encouragement which the scriptures give us." Okay? So we got to apply, put in practice the things the Lord has given us. We got to be able to have a spiritual perspective on the world around us according to what the scriptures have said. Okay? So we don't get all bent out of shape when this devil gets up on the TV box and says some bullshit, because at the end of the day, we can see through the lies. We can't be, giving false hope in this society, because we know what the Lord said is going to play out. And we've been endowed with that gift of faith. So we know that the Lord is almighty and he's pulling the strings on both sides, and things are going to play out exactly how the prophecy said. Okay? And we prepare ourselves in the spirit for that outcome, not the outcome the so-called white man says he's going to achieve. He's not going to be able to fulfill his enterprises. All right, so that was my, excerpt of the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is, again, is the application of the knowledge that you've been given. Okay, it's going to allow you to judge righteous judgment, but you need that capability. You need the discernment. You need to be able to flow in the spirit and adapt to the nuances of being around, believers, being around unbelievers. Okay, all the different scenarios that's going to be thrown at us. You need to be able to. You need to have experience in applying the knowledge to pass this test to come, man. And again, I'm gonna keep saying this. Your defense mechanism needs to be to turn to the Lord, man. And in distress, in good times, your habits need to be revolve around turning to the Lord in all things in the days to come. Those of our forefathers that were of high esteem, that was their defense mechanism, to turn to the Lord in distress, to turn to the Lord when things were good. Right? We need to have that same characteristic, right? That same skill in our time. So, Al-Barak-Tazah, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and were well. Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.